chair recognizes Senator Cruz.
I appreciate the always loquacious senator from Missouri, and I hope you did not have to resort to your own personal poetry to fill the time.
That was going to be next.
Well, then I apologize for depriving you of that particular joy. Let me start by welcoming today's nominees, Mr. Squires, Mr. Edlow, Mr. Geyser, Mr. Woodward. I am grateful that the President has nominated each of you to step into these critical roles at such a pivotal time for the Trump administration. Over the past several months, President Trump has governed with clarity, purpose, and boldness. He's issued executive orders to do what the American people demanded at the ballot box: eliminate crime in our streets, secure the southern border, and put the federal government firmly back on the side of law-abiding citizens. Under his leadership, the Department of Justice is no longer targeting political opponents. It is targeting violent criminals and criminal cartels. It's restoring order to a system that for years was being used to punish dissent and to reward lawlessness. Attorney General Pam Bondi is advancing that mission with energy and resolve. But make no mistake, the far left resistance is organized, lawless, and aggressive. Far left activist groups are flooding the courts in D.C., Boston, and San Francisco with lawsuits designed not to win on the law, but to block the president's agenda through judicial activism. And too many judges are going along with it. In just the last 4 months, more nationwide injunctions have been issued by lone district judges than in the entire 20th century.
Patriots, listen up. This right here is why we fight. This is why we speak out. And this is why we cannot afford to sit on the sidelines while unelected judges hijack our democracy and sabotage the will of the people. I just watched the latest where Senator Ted Cruz, a true warrior for the Constitution, grilled DOJ nominees about the tidal wave of nationwide injunctions coming from the bench. Lone district judges, unelected and unaccountable, are issuing orders that shut down national policy. Think about that for a second. One judge, one courtroom, 340 million Americans affected. That is not how a constitutional republic is supposed to work. That is judicial tyranny, plain and simple.
Let me repeat that. In 4 months, we have seen more nationwide injunctions than America had seen in the entire 20th century. That's not oversight. That's obstruction. That is activism. One plaintiff in one courtroom is now able to freeze federal policy for 340 million Americans. This is not justice. It's political sabotage from the bench. And it's happening because the left can't win at the ballot box. It turns out releasing murderers, rapists, and child molesters, releasing gang members is not a popular policy with the voters. But with left-wing radical judges, that's a different story. That's why your nominations matter. The administration needs serious, principled leaders, men and women who know the law, who have the backbone to carry it out in the face of political pressure. And the American people deserve a DOJ, a USCIS, and a USPTO that defends their rights, secures their communities, and follows the Constitution, not simply the edict of activist judges. Each of you has a critical role to play in that. Mr. Woodward, you've defended clients in some of the most politically charged cases in the country. If confirmed, how will you ensure that the DOJ's civil division resists political pressure, not just from the outside, but from within, and returns to equal enforcement of the law?
Senator, thank you for the question. Thank you also for the opportunity to meet in advance of this hearing. It's an important question, and I don't want my answer to be taken lightly, but I'm not at all intimidated by political pressure. As I have demonstrated through my career, people have taken issue with lots of the work that I have done. And for me, what's important is ensuring that the law is upheld, that the Constitution is respected. And I can assure you, Senator, that if confirmed, I will make sure that the Department of Justice does just that we root out the weaponization that has been so long embedded therein. We will find it, we will eliminate it, it will cease to exist.
You've seen firsthand how prosecutions can be weaponized. What safeguards do you intend to implement to prevent civil enforcement from becoming a political tool?
Senator, I appreciate that question. As counselor to the Attorney General, I'm already working with the Attorney General to build those safeguards in. There are hundreds and hundreds of cases that are litigated by the Department of Justice. We need to know what they are. We need to identify them. We need to be prepared to understand what the arguments are. I will work very closely with the deputies that have been confirmed by the Senate and that are acting in that capacity. We will find those cases. We will organize. One of the reasons I would be so blessed to come to the department is to help organize that litigation. It's something that I've done in the past at my law firm and at the law firm that I worked before that. I'm confident that I can do it if you give me the chance.
The Associate Attorney General oversees the Civil Division, civil rights, antitrust, and other major components. What is your top priority for restoring public trust in those divisions?
Senator, again, I hope I'm not making light of the question because the answer is easy. Follow the law.
Mr. Geyser, you clerked for three of the most respected constitutionalists in the federal judiciary: Judge Edith Jones, Judge Naomi Rao, and Justice Samuel Alito. All three are friends of mine. All three I respect deeply. How did those experiences shape your legal philosophy, particularly regarding the role of the executive branch in faithfully executing the law?
Well, thank you so much for that question, Senator Cruz. When you're a law clerk, your first task is to do your best to state the law in a way that the judge can use your work. And you're not the decider. You're there to do research, to provide your independent, candid, and honest view of the law. And should I be so fortunate to be confirmed as the Assistant Attorney General of the Office of Legal Counsel, that would be my primary aim, to always provide the best reading of the law and the best legal advice that I could give based on the questions that the Office of Legal Counsel receives.
Thank you. And Mr. Squires, the PTAB was created to improve patent quality and to provide a faster, cost-effective alternative to litigation. But in recent years, many small inventors and startups have expressed concern that it disproportionately favors large challengers and undermines the value of their patents, that is effectively an arm of big tech. What is your assessment of those concerns, and do you believe the system is functioning as Congress intended?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I think if you look at the data, the concerns are in plain sight. The IPRs themselves have a 68% defect rate, if you will. If the American patent system is a factory, 68% of the products we put out are found defective in a later proceeding. So the way to address it is to have patents, if I can harken back to my opening statement, born strong. We need to be able to incentivize getting the prior art in at the examination stage or closely thereafter, and having the improved quality, I think, will alleviate many concerns. There's also concern I have with IPRs that if, in fact, there is this prior art out there and validating patents at these great rates, is it or is it not getting back into the system in the examination on the front end so it can be applied when the applicants are asking for rights?
Okay, and a final question to Mr. Geyser and Mr. Woodward. I talked about the avalanche of nationwide injunctions we're seeing from individual district judges. How concerned are you about these nationwide injunctions, and what can be done to ensure that judges stay in their proper lane rather than trying to subvert the authority of the president and the will of the people who elected him? Mr. Geyser, we'll start with you.
Well, thank you, Senator Cruz. As Solicitor General of Ohio, I have the privilege of defending Ohio's laws against statewide injunctions that are sometimes sought. And I always make the same argument, that courts are empowered to offer relief no broader than necessary or burdensome than necessary to redress the injury of those who are properly parties before the court. I think courts should follow that guidance, which the U.S. Supreme Court has long established and dates back all the way to the Anglo-American legal tradition in equity.
Mr. Woodward.
Senator, I am very, very concerned. It should not be the case that a president duly elected then has to convince 600 individual judges to enforce the policy prerogatives of that administration. This is a bipartisan problem. This is a problem that has persisted, as you observe, for some time now. It is a problem before the Supreme Court, and of course it is the policy of the Department of Justice not to comment on ongoing litigation. But candidly, it's a problem I'm not sure the Supreme Court will solve. You know, as I look in the Constitution, Article 3 doesn't seem to have any discussion of nationwide injunctions in it, and so it's a dubious one, to be sure. Let me be clear, however, is that it is not a problem I am unafraid to face. If confirmed, we will take on all of the litigation in these courts. We will defend the president's prerogatives, and as a criminal defense attorney, I can tell you that I'm used to losing in the district court. We make our record, and that's why God invented the Court of Appeals.
Amen. Let me thank each of the nominees. Thank you for being here today. Written questions to the nominees may be submitted for the record until May 28th at 5 p.m. And with that,
Let's break it down. Senator Cruz opened the hearing with a sobering fact. More nationwide injunctions have been issued in the past 4 months than in the entire 20th century. You heard that right. This isn't a minor issue. This is a coordinated, left-wing legal insurgency. Radical activists can't win at the ballot box. Their soft on crime, open border, anti-American agenda isn't what the people want. So what do? They run to their buddies in court's far-left judges in D.C., Boston, San Francisco, and they file lawsuits meant to stall, block, and undermine everything this country voted for. That's not justice. That's political warfare. Now, I've got to say, I was impressed by some of the nominees, especially Mr. Woodward and Mr. Geyser. Woodward, a seasoned fighter who's been in the trenches of politically charged cases, made it crystal clear he will not cave to political pressure. He said, and I quote, "We will root out the weaponization that has been so long embedded in the DOJ. We will find it. We will eliminate it. It will cease to exist." Yes, sir, that's exactly what we need. People who aren't afraid to take on the bureaucratic swamp. Because we all know parts of the DOJ have been weaponized for years, going after political enemies, protecting insiders, and playing dirty from the inside. And Mr. Geyser, the man clerk for Justice Samuel Alito, a constitutional lion. He stood strong on the principle that judges shouldn't issue blanket injunctions beyond what's necessary for the actual parties involved. That's the way it's always been. That's rule of law, not rule of judges. Then there's Mr. Squires, who spoke up about the Patent Trial and Appeal Board, PTAB. Now, you may not follow patent law every day, but this matters, folks. The PTAB was supposed to help streamline patents and support innovation, especially for small businesses. But what it's become is a club for big tech Google, Facebook, Amazon to crush startups, steal ideas, and bury competition. Squires laid it out. 68% of patents challenged in PTAB end up being declared defective. That's not a bug. That's a feature for the tech oligarchs. It's a rigged game that's undermining American innovation and selling out inventors. Let's return to what Cruz said about nationwide injunctions, because this is the crux of it. A single activist judge in a coastal courtroom is now able to override Congress, override the president, and override the will of the voters. These aren't rulings based on constitutional restraint or careful legal precedent. No, these are political acts in black robes. Mr. Woodward put it best. It should not be the case that a president duly elected then has to convince 600 individual judges to enforce the policy prerogatives of that administration. Amen. Folks, this isn't just about one president. This is bigger. This is about preserving the separation of powers, respecting the Constitution, and defending the people's voice. If we let this go unchecked, then what's the point of elections? What's the point of a representative government? So here's what I say to you, my fellow patriots. Stay alert. Stay vocal. Get involved. Support leaders like Senator Cruz who are willing to shine a spotlight on the rot. Back nominees who won't fold under pressure. Demand that our courts go back to interpreting the law, not legislating from the bench. Because this fight is about more than just policy. It's about the soul of our republic. If we want to preserve America as a land of freedom, law and order, and constitutional governance, we cannot allow judicial activists to rewrite the rules. So make your voices heard, patriots. Comment, like, subscribe, and share this message far and wide. The fight for liberty doesn't end at the ballot box. It continues in the courtroom, in the legislature, and in the heart of every American who believes this country is worth defending. God bless you. God bless the Constitution. And God bless the United States of America. This is Conservative Chronicle, and I'll see you in the next one.